So first one of the day for me was CLRO. This one was really nice. So right in the pre-market, I noticed this, 5-minute flag look over here. And, we come up, we start forming this 5-minute flag against our like 110 area pivot over here. Flush down, and then that's when I, drew this trend line. I noticed we sucked up right here, kind of had a trend. And I told myself if we get the first 5 to make a new high right over here, you could see volume is starting to increase. If we get the new 5 to make a new high, I'll get long. So right here on the break, I get long $1.13 into the ask. We get a nice pop into 115, start peeling some off 116, peeled more off right here into 118, peeled a little piece off into 119, start pulling back into the open, and then right in the open, I'm looking at it and I notice, we formed the second trend line over here. And the only reason why I really stayed in this position, I was on live with Mikey and the guys, and I was telling them like, okay, we keep pushing up, but every time we come back down, there's no follow through. You could see right here, we push up, we get flushed back down, but there's no follow through. Same thing right here, and same thing right here. There was no follow through. Also again right here, there was no follow through. So that kind of gave me confidence to hang on to my position. So then right into the open, we get this pop into 125 right here. We break through it. I take another piece off at 125. And then I was like, okay, I want to see, what happens with this thing. At the time, when I was sitting in this position, AM was starting to really squeeze and really open up. So I was like, okay, maybe this is going to start to trigger Momo. Let's see what happens here. So we get this crazy pop into 137s. Don't think I peeled any more off there. Yeah, didn't peel any off there into 137s. Was looking for this 145 break. It was a daily pivot, and you could see we started acting as resistance over here. And my stop loss at this point would have been below the 135, 125 area, because that was a clear resistance area from the open and kind of also in the pre-market area. So then we get this kind of 5-minute flag look here, and right here we explode into 150s. That was another daily pivot. Take another small piece off at 150. Then right over here, when we get into 180s, I take a smaller piece off at 182 because I'm on my last piece at this time. And then this is when we halt up. We open up over here and we're kind of just trading sideways. And then on my last piece, we come into this 156 area pivot. And once we crack this pivot on the 1 minute, that's where I sell the remaining piece of my position. Reason I sold right over here on this break is because the tape was getting very heavy, and we also broke the 156 daily pivot. You can see right here, at the highs, it was a nice 66% win. So it was really cool. I was not expecting it to open up like it did, but this kind of, failed follow through to for the shorts kind of gave me that confidence to sit in my position and see if we can really open up. Later in the day, off the 5-minute, there was a few more trades that I make on this name. So I get long right over here, 169, or where is it? 169 right up here. I see, we kind of have this, push up, kind of put this 5-minute flag in, get long 169, have a nice pop into 174s, didn't take any off there. And then ultimately when we start flushing, I start peeling some off at 169 for break even. Then we flush in a 162 right here. This is where I take the remaining piece off. And that's when I noticed, we started to form this wedge over here. You guys can see, we have this lower trend line and kind of this upper trend line also right over here. And I was like, okay, the smart position here would obviously be off the lower trend line and then see if we get that break up and then squeeze. So I get long again right here off 165. Right on this 5 to make the new high over this one. I get long 165. We get a pop into 169s right over here. Peel some off 169, peeled a lot off at 169, honestly, like almost 50% of my position. And then I was like, okay, whatever. I caught a nice chunk here, took a little L here, kind of made back majority of the loss that I took right here, right over here. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens now. I'm going to let the rest of it ride. And we actually break this lower trend line right here. We flush, and I get filled 153, get filled 153.1, 153.5, and 153.35 right into here. And then I was on voice with the fellows, and I was like, okay, this thing might do that U-shaped recovery and push up. And, it ended up doing it. Didn't get any off of this pivot over here. Didn't even, trade it after this. And then it kind of just had that slow fade. Right over here, I was looking for it to kind of put in a flag over here. And that's when I did call out the 10-minute flag look in the chat, but ultimately I didn't really like it. The tape was really heavy, shorts were starting to stack, so I was like, okay, you know what, got a nice green on this name, let me just keep my green and let's not trade it anymore. And you know, sure enough, it did end up fading off. So those are my 3 trades on this name, CLRO. We then had BXRX. Nice trades on this one. I think this one was actually the one I took an L on. Yeah, this one was actually the one I took an L on. So BXRX, really nice 5-minute flag. You know, setup I would take any day right over our pivots. You can see we had this kind of $6 area resistance over here. We finally get the break over resistance on really high volume. Start pulling back into this $6 pivot on really low VPA. You can see the VPA descending. So I get my first ads right over here off the 610 area pivot. And then we get a nice pop into 620s, like about 630s actually, from, you know, 610 area. Take some off 620, take a little piece off 627. And then I was like, okay, if we come back down into 6s, because that's really where I wanted the pivot. I didn't really want it off 610, but I was like, okay, if, you know, I'll take some here. If we get 6, I'll add more. So right on this candle, we flush into 6. I start adding more off of 607s actually. And I was looking for that quick, you know, dip through and then suck back up. Ultimately, it didn't happen. And I take the rest of my position off into this flush candle for 590s and 584s. So ultimately took my, you know, nice green trade to a red trade. Small red on it, nothing too crazy, but, you know, nice 5-minute setup, nice flag I would play any day. But this one was red. If I didn't, you know, average in more off of the 6 pivot, I probably would have been able to, you know, keep it a green trade. But the ideal setup I was looking for was off 6. We got 6 pivot, followed my plan, but, you know, it just didn't work out. Looking at it now, you know, descending volume was there through the whole thing. And then, you know, volume just started picking up. So it is what it is. Took an L there. Moved on to the next one. Next one would have been HTGM. I think this one was kind of later in the day. But we did have some nice... Ooh, I see it's pushing now. There's actually a lot of people holding this one over the weekend. So HTGM got long right over here at 64s. Reason I got long is because we were breaking over this 64 pivot right here, and I wanted to scale some in case we get that sharp rise right away into new highs. So start scaling some in 64 right here, small size at the time, and ultimately I was looking for the 59, you know, 61 area pivot. And once we get that flush right here into 59s, I start scaling more in 61, 61.6. So I'm kind of slapping it over here. And then we get a sharp rise right here, back into 65. Take some off. Wow, it's really pushing. Take some off 65. Take more off 65.9. Had a few limits set up here, 66, 67, in case, you know, the stock decided to pop up here at the time and, you know, come back down. Sure enough, it did. So I did get filled some 67s. Got filled 67 up there. Got filled some 68.2 right up in here. So like almost caught the top. It did hit 69. I had some limits set, like I said. And then right here on this candle, as soon as we start flushing, it flushes, pops back up. I take my remaining piece off at 63 cents. I think you could see it on the 1 minute where we pop back up. So right over here, we pop back up into 62 cents. Take my remaining piece off at 62 cents, and then we just flush. You can see right now it's, you know, opening up over this trend line, so I may honestly might take some. We'll see what happens. So this one was a nice little green trade. If I didn't have my limit set up here though, I think I would have got a lot of slippage. So proud of myself for, you know, having the limit set and profiting off of that. So that one was really nice. MRIN was another one. Wow, MRIN with the squeeze too. Holy crap, why is everything pushing? MRIN, really nice 5-minute setup. Really clean setup. So I was on voice with the guys. We got long on this 5-minute setup over here against 150. Got filled 152s on this candle, really nice average. Started peeling some off 154s, 155, peeled more off into 162. Peeled more off up here into 172. And then I got my last piece off on this last push right here into 175 right here. And I got my last piece off. That one was really nice. I don't think I have the screenshot for it. Yeah, here it is. So it was a nice 17% win against the highs. And then NRBO was the next one. Excuse my sister, guys, she just got home. NRBO was the next one. Nice 5-minute flag right here into VWAP. Get long right here, $2.24. I kind of wanted this, 214 area, but I did miss it. I wanted it to show me some strength, and also I was in a few other plays. So get long against 224 pivot. Also, that lines up with the trend line over here. Get a pop into 230s, takes them off 228, takes them off 226, takes them off 225, and then ultimately just flushes and takes them off into 207. So that's where I got my last piece off, 207, 208. This one was actually a small red. It would have been break even if it wasn't for, this candle right here. But it happened. So I took some off, small red on this one. Next trade on the day would have been rent. Rent was really, really nice. Rent got long on this 5-minute flag over here. You can see we had this nice flag into the 238 pivot. And was getting long right here against the 240s. Ended up coming over here, added more against 244s. Started peeling some off into this pop into 250s. Wow, I had a lot of scales on this name, holy crap. So took some off 250, took some off 247s right over here. Took more off into 250. And then ultimately we get our 254 break, that's what I was looking for right over here. Push in a 260, take another piece off 261. Then I start seeing I'm taking more off on my orders, 264. We have a nice pop into 280s over here. Take another piece off 272. Then ultimately on this flush right here, I take my remaining piece off 261. Later on, we start kind of consolidating. Put in this nice 5-minute flag right here, this look over here. And kind of 3-minute, kind of 5-minute. And I get long against this pivot over here at 265s. And ultimately cut my whole piece off on this break and get filled 257s. Then later on in the day, so I'm still green on this name, just took a paper cut right in this area. Then later on in the day, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, where's this thing basing off? We're basing off on the 250 pivot. So right here into this flush, I get long 252. We get a nice pop over here on the 1-minute, right into the upper trend line. Start peeling majority off 257, 258, 261, 258 again, more at 258, and then we get a push down here. I'm like, okay, I want to de-risk, I want to take some more off, I don't want to go red on this. I have 252 average, kind of nice average over here. Not the rest off, sorry, I take majority off again at 255. Into the close we get this flush. I'm on my last piece, I'm not really worried. I figured they would kind of flush it and then suck it back up. Then like a few minutes into after hours, I take my last piece off right over here at 254s. So not really, anything crazy. Nice green on this name overall. Really, really nice moves. We had some nice moves yesterday, also some really nice moves today. And then that was my last trade, right? Did I cover AHI? I don't think I covered AHI. No, I didn't. So AHI, this would be the last one that I actually have to review. AHI, we had this nice break over. We have this nice break right here, kind of 5-minute flag look right over here. You can see the volume wasn't really there. I do get long against this 63 area right over here. Get long more into 61s on the lower trend line. I was adding 57s, but got filled 61s. So ultimately I had 61.8 average, I believe, so about 62s. Get a pop over here into 64s. Start peeling some off 64, and then on this one I was actually on live with the guys again, and I had limits set at 66 so I could make sure if we get a quick pop I could fill. I was getting filled some 66s, got majority off 66, and then we fall down into here into 60. I think it was, where did I get my last fills off? Last fills came off 57 for a small L. Overall, I did go red on the trade, and that was because I did make a smaller trade on it before. So I see on the 1-minute where that was. So the 1-minute, I did get long off this pivot, have a pop up, and then I got stopped out here. But then I realized we had the lower trend line, and that's why I was adding lower trend line. Then I added more into 63s, and then that's ultimately when, I didn't get the move I wanted, so I wasn't able to recoup the whole loss, but I did take a small loss there. Overall in the day, nice green, so pretty happy about that. With that being said, yeah, those are all the trades on the day for me. Yeah, kind of a lot of trades, but wow, okay, this thing is starting to open up. A lot of nice trades on the day. I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything. Took Armed inside bar play. Oh man, Armed, I was looking for that one. I wanted this 5-minute flag off 540s, but I did not get it. Right over here, I was looking for this flag to come down into 540s. I was freaking waiting, man. I do see we bounced off the 554 area right here, but ultimately not enough. And then, you know, we get to squeeze into the 100-day moving average, which lined up with 630s. Yeah, shorts were stuck. We could look for a day 3 play on this one, though. Yeah, nice ideas, though, Jixer, man. You were all over it. But yeah, with that being said, those are my trades on the day. If you guys have any questions, go for it. If not, then I guess we'll call it here.